Hello, a very good evening to everyone. I've seen that there are quite a number of you that are online ready and waiting for this to start. A warm welcome to Soakability Church. All right, this is our Soak living room, and this month we have a very special item called the AMA, called Ask Me Anything segment. All right, so if this is your first time joining us, my name is Clement. I'm one of the pastor here, and I'll be introducing my colleague in just a while time. But you are tuning into a Facebook Live. You know, we are a church that's based in Singapore. We love Jesus. We love His presence. We love signs, wonders, miracle. You know, and this is a church that, you know, we want to equip and empower believers to move in the supernatural. So if this is your first time, you can check us out on our church website. All right, just go to our church website. Just Google Soakability. There's no church got this name. There's no church got this name. So you won't find another Soakability. All right. So anyway, this is Soak Living Room. This is our weekly Wednesday session where we talk about the supernatural. We share testimony. It's kind of like a revival podcast in a way, you know. But in the month of June, we are doing something really fun and really interesting. And we are trying to explore new ways to share about the supernatural. And we have this called AMA, called Ask Me Anything. All right. So tonight, I'll introduce a guest later, you know. But I want to introduce one of my colleague, you know, the senior pastor of Soakability Church. I'm going to pass the time for our senior pastor, Pastor Jeff Yuan, to kind of say a few words before I introduce our guest.
All right, good evening, everyone. Glad to have all of you to join us. And good morning for those of you who are in America. Glad that you all can join us. It's a joy and an honor to minister in this format in a way that we can reach everybody like worldwide. So it's really a surprise to us, even up to now, that people are really benefiting from everywhere around the world. So I'm really, really happy that we can be part of your life in your mornings and in your evenings or in your afternoon, wherever you are. So thank you so much for joining us.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you, Jeff. All right. Thank you, Jeff. That was a really good introduction. And I do agree. You know, we are also surprised since we started online that we start to have, you know, I would say extended family. You know, outside of Singapore, we have so many people that from the America that's tuning in. We have people from Indonesia, we have people from Australia, and that's something that really bless our heart to know that, you know, what we share, you know, kind of like get travels outside of Singapore. All right. So without further ado, I do want to kind of like focus on our VIP, the person. I was going to say the person on the chopping board, but no. I shouldn't say that. You know, our dear fellow brother, you know, Pastor Patrick. You know, and Pastor Patrick has his passion, and some of you already know. You know, he has really passion to see people heart, you know, being made whole. You know, he has this really strong passion in seeing people set free from emotional pain and trauma. And, you know, 2 weeks ago, he started talking about this inner healing, and there were so many great questions streaming in, talking and asking him about inner healing question, you know, and you know, I still remember, it stuck my head, you know, what you bury, you carry. Wow, see, stuck in my head, you know, I can remember. And of course, he teach me how to remember some of the framework that I can't review here because, you know, you want to know, you got to come for the school. Yeah, I still remember that he's a really good Bible teacher, and I love that he even have very interesting acronyms for me to remember some of the framework, you know, the lies, the pain. Okay, that's all. Cannot review too much. All right, there's a teaser. All right, but anyway, I don't want to pass the time to Pastor Patrick. I'll let him, you know, introduce more about himself. So, hey, Pastor Patrick, take it away.
All right, thank you, Clement. I do have to say that I'm not a guest. I'm never a guest. Yeah.
Okay.
Just that tonight I am the in-house interviewee.
Okay, you want to
And
be the
you
interviewee.
will be the
interviewer.
Yes, you are the in-house interviewer.
All right. If that fancy you,
Yeah.
if that rocks your boat, all right.
So I'm here sitting for the audition.
An audition. Did I hear that audition, Jeff? Audition. Is that a talent show audition first?
Oh man.
What do you want to audit? What's the item you want to do on audition? Hey, you dig this hole yourself. You say it's an audition. No one said it was an audition.
So it's a spirit-filled audition.
Okay, so you're going to do a spirit-filled dance or spirit-filled songs.
No, spirit-filled sharing.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, all right. That's a great start. But all right. So anyway, for those of you who are already online, there will be a time later you can type in your question. I remember there are always overwhelming. Hey. All right, Pastor Patrick, please. All right. So anyway, I was saying there'll be a session later where you can ask questions to Pastor Patrick. And the past 2 weeks, whether it's Pastor Patrick's session or my session, I realized there's overwhelming question, and we try our best to go through every question. Okay, so I'm so sorry if we didn't manage to answer your question, that you have for Pastor Patrick. But if so, you can add in today. Okay, and we'll try to get as much question as possible in just a while time. All right. So, but right now, Jeff, would you want to start the ball rolling and ask the first question to our guest interviewee? So you are my co-guest interviewer, as what Patrick has said.
Hey, Pastor Patrick. I would like to ask you, where is inner healing in the Bible?
Okay.
Yeah, it's true, right?
Yeah, that's a great question.
This is one of those questions that I get when we have people who say, "Oh, soaking is not in the Bible." I say, "Okay, but being filled with the Spirit is. Waiting on the Lord is. Then this, and it's all terminology. Sometimes we get hung over. Then you also can say Sunday school is not in the Bible, but we do Sunday school. But the principle and yeah. So, but yeah, this is one of the questions that I encounter a lot. Like, oh well, so where is inner healing in the Bible, right?
Yup, that's an important question that that people ask, and maybe some of you online are asking that question. And yes, is inner healing biblical? Did Jesus practice inner healing? Like nowhere in the Gospels did we see Jesus do inner healing. He just cast out demons, right? So is inner healing biblical? So this question has many layers. So when we ask something like, is inner healing in the Bible, or is inner healing biblical, or anything, is Sunday school or something else? First of all, we are not asking is that word or is that term in the Bible. Because, for example, if nobody asks, is Trinity in the Bible? All right, because every Christian believes in the triune God, believes in Trinity, but the word Trinity is not in the Bible. All right, but the concept of a Trinity is in the Bible, and that can be found, and that can be depicted in different parts of the Bible, from the Old Testament to the New Testament, right? So when we ask the question, is inner healing in the Bible? We are talking about the concept of it, the biblical principle of it, yeah. And so there are many levels. So on one level is there are people saying that, oh, when I believe in God, I become a new creation. In Christ, I am a new creation. The old has passed. Behold, all have become new. No, I am no longer old man. I am new man. Right. So there's no need for inner healing. uh, and, and so there are people who believe that, all right? Oh, because I'm saved, and right now I live in grace, I'm perfect in Christ, so there's no need for inner healing. All I need to know is my identity in Christ. Yeah, as long as I know my identity in Christ, that's enough, and I don't need inner healing. Everything will resolve by itself. So that is one group of people, right? And so the thing about so the thing about this is we need to come back to the concept of already but not yet. All right, this phrase already but not yet is actually from systematic theology. And so the thing about spiritual principles and spiritual reality, the thing about spiritual reality is not either or, but it is three-dimensional. And so reality, you see it from different angles. So, for example, salvation, if you read about salvation and sanctification, right? Okay, let's talk about sanctification. Okay, when we read about sanctification, there are some verses in the Bible that makes sanctification look like a process. So there are groups of people believing sanctification is a process. And also, we need to really cleanse our lives, consecrate ourselves, live the holy life. Need to, we need to abide by very strict ways of living our lives. We don't smoke. We don't drink. There are some Christian groups. We don't watch TV, go to cinema, all right, because that's part of living a holy life, right? That I live in this world, but I'm not part of this world. Yeah. So I live a set apart life. And sanctification is a process. As I continue to work hard on doing all the right things, then I become holier and holier and holier. And so there are people who think this way, right? That sanctification is all about process. But and then you have another group of people who say, no, sanctification is the moment you believe in Jesus, you are made holy. You are made holy in Him. Is it 1 Corinthians 1:30 or is it 2 Corinthians? I remember it's 1:30. That Jesus is your wisdom and is your sanctification. Okay, let's take a look whether it's 1 Corinthians or 2 Corinthians. Okay, my phone is jammed. I think it's 2 Corinthians, but first 1 Corinthians. All right. Can you just read for me what it says?
Right, sure. NIV. It is because of Him that you are in Christ Jesus, who has become for us wisdom from God, that is our righteousness, holiness, and redemption. In ESV, it says righteousness, sanctification, and redemption. In King James, it says righteousness, sanctification, and redemption. Yeah.
Yeah. So, So there are verses like that tells us, Jesus is my sanctification. So it doesn't. So my identity is not based on what I did, but what He did on the cross. So it doesn't matter how I live. I can live as carelessly as I want. I am still holy. And that's where things go wrong. Because there is a place of that, knowing your identity in Christ, knowing that He is your sanctification, that is not by your works, by His works on the cross. It is the finished work of the cross that you are saved and you are sanctified. That is totally true. But and that is the already part. It's already done. Ephesians chapter 1 verse 3, that we are blessed with every spiritual blessing in the heavenly places. It is already done. By His stripes, we were healed. It is already done. So there is this part that is already done. Everything is already done in the spirit realm. That you are more than conquerors in the spirit realm. You are seated with Him in the heavenly places. You are seated with Him in the heavenly places. Ephesians chapter 2 verse 6. That it is already done. But at the same time, there is an element of it where it has not yet happened yet. That you have not seen it materialize in your material world, in the natural world that we are in this body we are living in. That in the spirit, by His stripes, we are already healed. But yet in the natural, we are battling with bacteria and viruses and all kinds of sicknesses. That there's still a battle going on. There's still a battle going on. And it's not either or. It's both concurrently running together, and it is about pulling the reality of heaven into the reality of our world. Pulling the reality of heaven into the reality of our experience. Pulling the reality of heaven, knowing that in the heavenly places, we, in the spirit, we are totally healed. Pulling that into our experience, into our world, into our bodies, experiencing that physical healing for ourselves right here, right now. And so that's of course in the context of physical healing, right? But it's also it's in the context of emotional healing. It's the same thing. That in the heavenly places, our hearts are healed. Our hearts are made whole. All our tears are being wiped away. There's no more pain. There's no more fear. But yet, living in this world, dwelling in this tent of skin, this tent of human skin, we still experience fear. We experience trauma. We experience emotional pain, and that is very real. When things happen and fear strikes and anxiety surfaces, all that is very real. And it is about pulling the promises of heaven, pulling the spiritual blessings of heaven down into your own life, into your heart. bridging the gap between already and not yet. Bridging that gap, already but not yet. Bring the already into my now. And wow, I'm just covering one point so far.
You're good. You're good. You can continue.
Man, praise the Lord. I don't know whether you are following me, but yeah, that yeah is and inner healing is that process to bridge the gap between the already but not yet. That in Christ you are perfect, in Christ you are healed, in Christ you are whole, and that's in the spirit, in the heavenlies. But to bring that into the reality of your actual experience, the reality of your inner world, the reality of your outer world, that is inner healing is a process, and that is also a process of sanctification. So when we talk about sanctification, when we talk inner healing, when we talk about deliverance, it's all tied up together. It's not separate. It's like a rope with, like a rope is made of. Excuse me. A rope is made of 3 strands, right? Yeah. Song of Ecclesiastes says a three-stranded cord is not easily broken, right? And so that strand, inner healing. In fact, you can lump more strands together. Inner healing, deliverance, renewing of the mind, sanctification is all one rope. Different strands in one rope. That when those people who have gone through inner healing will understand that renewing of the mind is a very big part of inner healing. Yeah. And the other thing is that deliverance is also very deliverance is also inbuilt into inner healing. Yeah, it's all one rope. And so yeah, it's a process. It's so sanctification is both a point and a process. The moment you are saved, you are sanctified in Christ. Christ is your sanctification. But from the moment you are saved to the rest of your life till you die and go to heaven and be with the Lord, for the rest of your life on earth, it's a process of drawing close to Him and becoming more like Him, and that is a process of sanctification that you're experiencing the reality of your actual life. But in the spirit, you are already made perfect. From that point, you say yes to Jesus. Same thing. The moment you say yes to Jesus, you are healed. But for the rest of your life, you are experiencing and you are downloading that healing into your actual body, the healing into your actual heart. And that's a process, and that takes intention. That the more you align yourself to His truth, the more you experience His promises and the reality of His truth in your life. And that's a process. And so when we talk about inner healing, it is about this intentional process of allowing His the truth of His spiritual promises to actualize in your material life. Wow.
Any
I can
verses?
go on, you know.
Any verses that you point to? Is there any verses as in the Bible that points to, like, inner healing or? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll name a few.
Yeah. Name a
right.
few, please.
First of all, one very famous verse, we don't usually think of it as an inner healing verse, is Romans chapter 12, verse 2. All right. In fact, I would just start with Romans chapter 12, verse 1 and lead on to verse 2, yeah? So Romans chapter 12, verse 1, it says, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your reasonable service. So it says, present your bodies. Interesting thing. It did not say present your life. It didn't say present your heart. Didn't say present your soul. It says present your bodies. The Greek word for body is the word soma. Present your soma. Present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God. And then it goes on to say, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good, acceptable, and perfect will of God. And so here it says, verse 2, it says, do not be conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. If you've been to other inner healing schools before, you will recognize that renewing of the mind is a very big part of inner healing. And that goes hand in hand with restoring of the heart, renewing the mind and restoring of the heart. That we break free from the patterns of destruction within our minds. Do not be conformed to the pattern of this world. The way of thinking of this world, and we live our lives in patterns. There's pattern of thinking. There are patterns of feelings. You notice that you're caught in feeling a certain way, over and over again when things crop up, and you're caught up with patterns of thinking a certain way, having certain negative thoughts over and over again when things crop up. and patterns of acting and reacting. That when you feel a certain way and think a certain way, you will act a certain way. And we are being so all of us, we are being trapped in these patterns. And renewing of our mind is a process of breaking out of all these patterns. And that's part of inner healing. Renewing our mind to break out of the trap patterns that we are in. Now, some people will ask, so where in the Bible does it talk about digging for your sin? You go to inner healing school and they ask you to list out all your sins and list out all the past experiences you have. Where in the Bible does it go into that? Now in my, I don't have, now for me personally, I don't have a list for people to take and say, okay, you take all this list and we'll go into all that. But the Bible does talk about searching our hearts, right? And looking into, examining our lives and looking into how God can transform us. And so let's look at Psalms 139, verse 23. Psalms 139, verse 23. Okay, verse 23 and verse 24. So this is what it says. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my anxieties. And see if there's any wicked way in me. And lead me in the everlasting way. All right. You know what? I'm going to just try to search the different versions. Let's see if I can get it very quickly. Interlinear. Oh, okay. Maybe you can help me read out the different versions of Psalms 139 verse 24.
Psalms 139 verse 24. Okay, give me a minute. You continue. I will do that for you.
Really?
Yeah, I got all the versions here. Which one you want?
Yeah, you can just read the different versions.
That's a lot. Okay, NASB. Verse 24, is it?
Yep.
NASB says, and see if there's any hurtful ways in me, and lead me in the everlasting way. Amplified Bible says, see there is any wicked or hurtful ways in me, and lead me to everlasting way. Holman Bible, see if there's any offensive ways in me, and lead me in the everlasting way. Okay, Burton Septuagint. See if there's any way of iniquity in me that leads me in an everlasting way. Contemporary English Bible, do not let me follow evil ways and lead me to the ways that have proven true. Good news, the simple one. Find out if there's anything evil in me and guide me in the everlasting way.
Great. Is there any version that says painful way?
Painful way. I will look for you.
I'll
Yes, sir.
I'll read the Passion for you. That's what the Passion say. All right, the Passion translation says is, see if there's any path of pain I'm walking on, and lead me back to your glorious, everlasting ways, the path that brings me back to you.
Path of pain. Wow.
Yeah, path of pain. Passion.
Interesting. Actually, that is very interesting. And that is quite an accurate description too, path of pain. All right.
Okay.
Okay, let me just start with Psalm 23, verse 23 first, all right? No, in fact, let me start with verse 1. Then I'll jump to verse 23. Here's the interesting thing. In verse 1, it says, "O Lord, you have searched me and known me." All right? Verse 1, the psalmist says, "God, you have searched me and known me." And it goes on to talk about how deeply God knows him. And then when it comes to verse 23, it says, "Search me, O Lord, and know my heart." I don't know about you, but when I read this psalm, my first question was, okay, psalmist, you said in verse 1, the Lord has searched your heart, all right, and he knows you already, and he knows you so well, so deeply. Then why verse 23, did you forget all that and say again, "God, come and search my heart"? Haven't the Lord searched your heart already? Why must he do it again? Have you ever thought of that? For you who you guys who have read this psalm before? Verse 1 says, "Lord, you have searched my heart. You know me so well. You know me so deeply." And when it comes to verse 23, it looks like he has forgotten everything he said beforehand. And he says, "God, search my heart," as if God has not searched his heart before. No, verse 23 is for the psalmist's benefit, is for the psalmist's benefit. The fact is this: the Lord knows the psalmist's heart. This Psalm of David. So the Lord knows David's heart. But David might not know his own heart, and David realizes he did not know his own heart as deeply as God. And so when David says in verse 23, "God, search my heart, O God. Know my heart. Try me, know my anxious ways." What is he is inviting God to come. "God, search my heart. As I connect with you, search my heart." And that is a process of allowing God to search his heart to bring up things that David needs to deal with. He says, "Try me and know my anxieties." There are some versions who say anxious way. The word there is seraph. I might not be pronouncing it correctly, but it literally means that the word that means dividing or branching off. Think of a tree branching off. Yeah, and interestingly, neuroscience will tell you that the neural connections in our brains look like trees, look like branches. No, the anxious patterns in my mind, the branching off, the dividing ways, is branching off. Also shows that I'm not whole. I'm divided on the inside. All right. And so this, and the next verse says, verse 24. See if there's any wicked way in me, and there are many different
That's one that says ways of sorrow.
ways of sorrow.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah, ways of sorrow,
Yeah.
a sorrowful way.
Yeah, and there's a ESV says any grievous ways.
Any grievous ways. Thank you. So the interesting thing is, if you look into the different translations, there's so many different translations for that phrase in verse 24. Why? Because actually they are all correct. I know this because I look into the Hebrew. Right? The word in Hebrew, that word is, come and see if there's any, the word there is otsev. Come and see if there's any otsev in me. And literally, otsev, there are a few. Okay, it's two words actually. When he says it's wicked way, the wicked is otsev. Way is derek, which is road, right? That's where you get paths of pain, right? Is derek, pain is otsev, right? But again, paths, is like the brain, the neural connections in your brain. The word observe means a few things. Number one, it literally means pain. And so in and so there is, for example, in First Chronicles, there's this guy called Jabez, this gentleman called Jabez, right? And there was a very famous book, right, written about Jabez. In First Chronicles, verse 4, verse 9, it says, now Jabez was more honorable than his brothers, and his mother called his name Jabez, saying, because I bore him in pain. All right? Jabez, the word Jabez means sorrow, but when the mother says, because I bore him in pain, the word pain there is the word otsev. Because I bore him in otsev. And so one of the literal meanings of otsev is pain. And so Psalms 139 verse 23. Although most translations do not translate it to the word pain, yet it is in that verse. Search me, O God, and see if there are any paths of pain in me. See if there are any painful ways in me, painful patterns in me. Now that is inner healing. That is one of the main processes of inner healing, or what inner healing is about. That it is about inviting God to bring up the places of pain in our hearts and allowing Him to deal with our places of pain that we bury in our hearts so deeply to the point where our hearts go numb and our lives go down. This is inner healing. But Otsev has many meanings, right? And another meaning, it literally means idols. Otsev literally means idols. For example, let's say Isaiah chapter 48, verse 5. Isaiah 48, verse 5, it says, even from the beginning I've declared to you, before it came to pass I proclaimed to you, lest you should say, my idol have done it. The word idol there is the word Otsev. Yeah? Now, it will not make sense if you translate the word Otsev here into pain. This is God speaking, right? And it will not make sense if you translate it this way. Even from the beginning, I, God, have declared to you, before it came to pass, I proclaimed to you, lest you should say, my pain has done it. That will not make sense. My pain has brought these promises to pass. That will not make sense, right? The word that the Otsev there in that context is idols, right? But it's the same word. That same word Otsev is so rich. The Hebrew word is a Hebrew word, and Hebrew words are very rich in meaning. So it means pain. It also means idols. And what we know of idols are deception. Idols are lies. Idols are nothing but illusions. They're not true. They are false. And that's why you have other versions of Psalms 139, verse 24, translating the word Otsev into deceitful way, Otsev Derek into deceitful ways, wicked ways, because it's idolatrous, it's idols, right? It's sinful ways. So idols is, first, they are lies, they are false, and secondly, they are wicked, they are evil, they are sin. And so this in Psalms 139 verse 24, the word Otsev is used in all its fullness. When the psalmist say, search my heart, God, and see whether there's any Otsev Derek in me. See if there's any deceitful ways in me. See if there are any painful ways in me. See if there are any sinful ways in me. See if there are any idolatrous ways in me. See if there's any falsehood, any lies, any ungodly beliefs in me, things that are not true. And so there are three main things from the word observe that I derive. One is emotional pain. Two, it's falsehood and lies, beliefs that are untrue. Three is sin, uh, this destructive behavior that damages yourself, damages the kingdom of God, and hurt God's heart. And these three things: lies, pain, and sin. Search my heart, oh God, see whether there's any odsef in me. Search means it comprises, search my heart, oh God, see whether there's any pain in me. Search my heart, oh God, see whether there are any lies in me. Search my heart and see whether there's any sin in me. And that is the initial part of inner healing: awareness, coming terms of the state of your heart, the condition of your heart and the condition of your life. And so inner healing is in the Bible. It's in the Bible, right? And it's an entire process. There are many processes in the Bible. It's now it will be too long for me to go through.
Yeah,
the
you
entire
have your
process.
school. You have your school.
Yeah. But just to prove a point that inner healing is a biblical process. Yeah.
That's good. Thank you, Pastor Patrick.
Yeah.
I thought that was really in depth. He talks about the biblical basis for inner healing. Went through scriptures, went through the Hebrew words, and I feel like there's just so much to learn from that. And I would like to say that is just the tip of the iceberg. There's still so much more that Pastor Patrick is going to share during his School of Inner Healing. But I'd like to ask this question, because tonight the topic actually on ministering inner healing. And actually it's quite obvious that across the globe there is always a hunger to go heal the sick. There's always healing conference, School of Healing, etc. There's always a hunger to to prophesy, learn how to prophesy. There's prophetic conference, School of Prophets, etc. But this School of Inner Healing, or like an inner healing conference, it is something that is probably, I would say, less talk about. And I'd like to ask Pastor Patrick, maybe we can share more, because it seems that the so-called popular, supernatural manifestation is like prophecy, healing, raise the dead, cast demon out, etc. But whereas inner healing, it is so essential. We see that people really get set free, and when people get set free, their lives start to get aligned. Other breakthroughs also start coming in. I heard many of the testimonies you shared with me. But why is inner healing something that not many people pursue as not for themselves but as a tools for their ministry?
Wow. Well, it really depends on which circles you're mingling with. There are some circles who will be more open to inner healing, some circles who are less, right? But the thing is this: the difference between, let's say, prophesying, or let's say praying for the sick with a prayer of faith to do physical healing is, I can give you a 5-minute prophecy. Yeah. And if I give you a 5-minute prophecy and it's accurate, you'll be blown away and say, wow, Pastor Patrick gave me a 5-minute prophecy. That was a very long prophecy. Wow, so much love. Wow, so much grace. Wow, praise the Lord. Right? Or if I were just to pray 5 minutes with you, just releasing a prayer of faith for physical healing, that will also be, wow, 5 minutes, right? Now inner healing, I can't you can't expect 5 minutes to
Wrap it up.
to wrap it up, right? Inner healing takes a much longer time. It's a much bigger commitment, and so some people are called to it because you when you have the patience to sit down with a person for an hour, for 2 hours, and not once, not twice, but over time, to journey through with a person, to break through the person's life. It takes a certain personality to move with that. And the other thing is inner healing. Most schools of inner healing incorporate a certain system. All right. Now, God is not limited by formulas, right? But when you have a system and you have a structure and you have a framework, it becomes something duplicable that I can teach people, empower people, and people can take that system and do it as well. So it's like McDonald's, right? Like McDonald's have a system, right? You have the equipment and everything everything is cookie cutter. It's a cookie cutter system that every McDonald's is a system. Within that system, things will run. And so inner healing is something like that. So it's most systems are made in such a way where there's a place for spontaneity. Like when I work with someone inner healing, many times the Spirit of God will move, right? But yet at the same time there is a certain structure. Just like when you play in a band and you are playing a certain song, you are following the chord progression, yet while you are following chord progression and playing the same 4 chords over and over again, there is a lot of spontaneity and there are a lot of dynamics. So inner healing is something like that. I'm not sure whether I'm answering the question specifically.
No. I can summarize. I mean, there are really good points that you raise up, because I just want to highlight your ministry. Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to highlight your ministry, and I feel like you touched on a very good point on time. And I feel that sometimes we become a Christian that we want fast result, and when we pray for the sick, we can expect to see instantaneous result because that's how healing works. I've seen when I pray, people get healed on the spot, and that's amazing. That's exciting, And we give prophecy, on the spot. People can give feedback. Man, you're right. That's accurate. That's my birthday, etc. But you say a very good point. Inner healing, you don't get it like wrap it up in 5 minutes, and it's a process. And I do agree. It takes maybe certain personality, because you said about some people, some session might take 1 hour, 2 hours, So I can see that you are someone that's very patient. We can do a 2-hour session with people. But yeah, at the same time, I also don't want to make people feel that because I'm not patient, I cannot do inner healing. Because at the end of the day, patience is the fruit of the Spirit. And the motivation behind every ministry, whether you're healing, you're prophesying, you're raising the dead, or even you're preaching the gospel, everything you're doing it unto the Lord and doing for the people in front of you. And it all supposed to be motivated by love. Because I think what I don't want people to think is that, like, oh, because I'm not as patient as Pastor Patrick, so when people need inner healing, I'm not going to sit down, and do inner healing. Because I feel that sometimes what people need is a companionship, because we all have friends that we can sit down and, listen to them share their life for 1 hour or even 2 hours. We can talk to them for 2 hours. So if we can do that to friends, we also can do that with people. We just need the right tools, which Pastor Patrick is going to teach about the framework in his School of Inner Healing. So I just want to point out that the lack is not so-called like, oh, I'm not called to it necessarily. But I do agree there are some people who have like more passion for it, like Pastor Patrick yourself, and people who are on the receiving ends, because I have been healed internally. I know the result, and that's why I become a spokesperson, or I get into this ministry. And it's like the parallel, not everyone is called to kids ministry in a sense, but yeah, at the same time doesn't mean that, you're not called, you don't work with those people group. So I just want to kind of summarize that, because you say a very good point, and I feel that I just want to bring a balance, because I think inner healing's ministry is still something that probably has some stigma, for people who go, or maybe for people who want to step into it. Because I mean, like, I think one of these, maybe not this is probably not a stigma, probably like a perspective, that it seems that like most people who deal with inner healing ministry are more of like the older age group, as per se. Like, to be honest, like, I travel around the world, I haven't seen someone in the early 20s like, man, I am passionate about seeing people get set free. But yeah, at the same time, I've seen many motherly and fatherly figure who are really passionate about inner healing. And I do agree also that this is not like a age-related kind of ministry, right? Maybe you can kind of share more about that.
I've done teenagers and children.
Oh, no, I say the people doing inner healing.
Right. I think I've seen people in their 20s and above passionate about it. Not teenagers. The thing is, it takes at least a certain degree of maturity.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, for you to do inner healing. Because so there is, part of it is just being able to sit down, to feel the person's heart, to discern from the Lord. And so that there needs to be a certain level of maturity, mental maturity, and emotional stability to do inner healing for other people. Doesn't mean that you need to be perfect. No one is perfect, right? But if, let's say, emotionally, I'm very unstable, right? Really, really very unstable. Very, so much trauma in my body, in me, so I get triggered very easily. And then I sit down and hear another person talk about his or her pain, and as the person talks about his pain, her pain, I begin to feel my pain. I begin to get triggered. I begin to think of my past. Right? And so I will not be at a place emotionally to help the person, because I am getting all worked up on the inside. And I will not be able to connect with God. I will not be able to be calm enough to help the other person become. And part of inner healing is connecting with God and helping the other person connect with God.
Wow.
And part of inner healing is helping the other person hear from God. It's not about giving advice. It's not even about counseling. But a big part of it is helping the person connect with God and hear from God. And that cannot happen if I'm being triggered and I cannot connect with God during the session.
Yeah, that's really good. I felt that also answer actually the next question I was going to ask.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I was going to ask, like if for people who wants to start moving in inner healing ministry, do they need to be inner healed first? And I think kind of that part of your answer just now kind of answered that already. Unless you have something really quick to add in.
Yeah, so there needs to be a base degree of mental clarity and emotional stability. Base degree, yeah, even 6 upon 10 is fine. Yeah, you don't have to be perfect. I'm not perfect. All right, there are many things that trigger me.
Never mind. Nobody needs to know.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Jem, any question? If not, you have any question?
I don't have a question, but I would like to enforce some of the things that Pastor Patrick kind of said. Well, one of the reasons why I think inner healing is more complicated. It's not like physical healing, like heal or not heal.
Yep.
And one of the things that when you talk about how come most of the people are inner healing are in like they are of an older age, right? I think it does make sense if you turn to the hearts of the fathers to the children. And I think that when you've been through life long enough, you actually okay, it's not a matter of age, because I know of people who are 50 years old and they are still childish. But yeah, at the same time, age sometimes does plays a role. If you've been through life, you understand, you have wisdom, that you see things in a more mature way. Like that's probably what Patrick talked about as emotional stability. Now, here's the thing that makes inner healing a bit complicated, because one of the things that we when we say Jesus take our sin, right? What we don't understand is that in the Hebrew context, Jesus didn't just take away our sin. There's 3 words. There are 3 things that there are 4 things that he did on the cross. Yeah. So sin, yes. Now, if you look, there are 3 words for. There's transgression, there's iniquity, and there's sin. And that's one of the problems, because we use the word sin a lot, but the other 2, iniquity and transgression, right? Both of it is actually something Jesus had done on the cross. But to us, when we talk about sin, and we talk about iniquity, and we talk about transgression, and all of us think, oh, it's the same thing, isn't it? It's not the same thing. But the word sin for Hebrew is kata, or kata. And of course, in the Greek, it's hamartia. 2 words, ha and meros. And so, but in both words, right, in the Greek and the Hebrew, it has the same connotation. It has the same meaning. Yeah, kata is actually, it could be a measuring rope that have knots over it to measure. It's like a rope that has knots there that you put. That's the idea of measuring tape, So you just put that and you measure, right? Or it could mean to miss the mark, which is actually the same meaning as the Greek word for sin. So sin in itself is actually seeing something incorrectly. It's a perspective issue before it's a doing issue. And sometimes a lot of times we deal with the fruits, not the root. A lot of times we deal with the action, not the root behind it, not the thought process behind it. And if we can understand correctly, even in Greek and Hebrew, both word talks about not seeing a certain perspective or not seeing something correctly. That's the root of sin, actually. It is me not seeing something correctly. And what Patrick shared about just now in Psalms 139 is allowing God to reveal those blind spots. The second word actually there is transgression. Transgression got to do with relationship. That means when I sin against someone or I stole my neighbor's sheep, right? Actually, that's a transgression. It's you never transgress against God. You transgress against another person. You transgress and against another person. And in transgression, once you have transgression and when you stole something from your neighbor, right? Transgression means that it breaks relationship. It breaks our family relationships. It breaks our friends' relationship. It breaks up relationship in our life because of what we are doing, how we see life, how we perceive things to be, and when we act out in sin, and it breaks relationship. And in that, Jesus on the cross, he took our transgression. That's Isaiah 53:5. Yeah, he bought Isaiah 53:5. And relationally, Jesus has healed us that we have perfect relationship on the with the Father, and also we are no longer in transgression with the Father. We are also in a place where we can take every thought captive because, like, he bore our sins. That is second. That is Peter, I think. Yeah, Peter chapter 2, I think. Yeah, second. 2:24. Yeah, you should know all the verse because it's all in your course, right? But the last thing that actually it talks about is he bore our iniquities. And one of the problems is the word is we don't use the word iniquities anymore. How many of you today you just use the word iniquity to your neighbor or something? You have iniquity in your life, or I have iniquity in my life. Nobody uses that word, and so it becomes an obscure word that we don't understand the meaning of it. But in the Hebrew, it's avon. Okay, it's 3 words. Yeah, avon nun, and so a is a picture of an eye. V is a picture of a hook or many hooks. It's a hook. And nun is a picture of fishes, a fish multiplying, or a picture of fishes. Yeah. So first picture is the eye, second picture is a hook, third picture is fish multiplying. And what it means is, what my eye hook on, it will multiply. That's what actually it is. It's like when in the commandments where it says you shall not lust over, you just not covet, thou shalt not covet over your neighbors, whether it's donkeys, yeah, whether it's your neighbor's wife, right? What it means is that what my desire is for unhealthy things, that my eye, when I hook onto something, right, and I keep thinking of it, it's that when I look at it, it's like, wow, it's like, Pastor Patrick has this bag of ramen that is like on the floor, this bag, like he just ate this wonderful ramen and that looks delicious. And actually it's not ramen, there's tissue. Like, but as I look at it, it says, wow, how I wish I would have a taste of that ramen, which now of course it's not desirable, but assuming that is. And suddenly if my hand moved towards it and I stole what it is, and what it is this, that whatever it has to deal with thoughts, that whatever we desire and unhealthy desires, what our eye hook on that is wrong, and it starts to multiply in our life. And so iniquity has to deal with lust, desire, and covetousness. And that means on the cross, right, he redeemed our sight of not seeing things correctly. He redeemed our thoughts or lust, our desires, or unnatural desires. He also redeemed our relationship between him and between other people. So to understand the word, you see, sometimes it's so generic where you say, oh, it took our sin away, but we miss the point that the cross of Jesus is whole and complete. And what Pastor Patrick is talking about is that we are in inner healing is just unraveling those things, those self-defeating thoughts, habits that is stopping you from seeing the reality that the reality of who you are in heaven, that you're whole and complete. So yeah, that's my kind of additional thoughts in it, because this is a huge thing, and and honestly, inner healing, it takes more time than prophecy. Like for me, it's like, just prophesy and that's it. But in inner healing, because it's so intricate that it does take a lot of work. And I'm not surprised, because I think a lot of inner healing that I know, they actually charge, right? Because it's it's a lot of work and it's a lot of time over one single person. It is, you know, for us who are healing ministers, we just pray, heal, no heal, let's pray again, heal, no heal, pray again, anointing oil. We do until something happens and the person gets healed, right? But for inner healing is different. It's like spending time. It's connecting to the heart. That's why a lot of times it's training. So let me ask you a question. So how do you draw boundaries then? I mean, honestly, if you say it, like, I mean, if there are people that is coming, and of course, no matter how mature you are, you're saying all of us have issues. Some issues cause a lot of tissue, like there's a lot of tissue there, yeah, a lot of tissue. And so, how do we avoid, like, you can't minister to everyone. Like, just say if that you do a course and suddenly 200 people show up, and then, like, and there are people who want you to do for them, and of course you need to understand that, I mean, you love the Lord your God and love the neighbor. I mean, you love Lord your God, love the neighbor as yourself. So you need to love yourself, right? Right? You need to love yourself so that you can. How do you maintain that self-love and boundaries? And how do you say no or enough, right? I mean, since it's so demanding, so there has to be boundaries, right? If not, then how? Unless your whole life is 24 hours dedicated to inner healing. I don't know, but how do you advise the people that it's okay to maintain boundaries? When do you say no? When do you know that you're burning out, and when do you know that? Because it's draining, right?
Yeah, wow, that's a very tough question for me.
I know, because I'm
Yeah,
learning
yeah.
too.
Right. Yeah. So one thing I do is when I minister to people, I also empower them to help themselves. And what I do also is, if I see the person is really serious about it, and he or she does take the effort to implement what I tell them, then the next time they approach me, I'll be more willing to give them more time. But if they come back to me again and they've not done anything I've told them, then I will not give them the time. They have to implement what I tell them. They have to help them by using the tools I give them. And when they get additional breakthrough, I'm willing to invest more in their lives, or so yeah. So that's one way, yeah, that I safeguard myself, because there's no point if you don't want to help yourself. You just want to suck me dry.
So I think what you're saying is you don't want to be Jesus for them. When it comes, how do you know when it comes? What you're describing is they depending on you to get to meet. You become their personal savior, and is that's what you don't want, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I cannot be anyone's crutch.
Correct.
Yeah?
Wow.
But if someone is hungry enough to to do something about the state of their hearts, and when I give them instructions, and they do it, then it's the same thing as discipleship.
Right.
Like if you start mentoring someone and the person just does not follow what you tell them, your guidance, but they just demand more of your time. After a while, you just say, yeah, I don't think this is working out. It's not fruitful for me or you. Yeah. Yeah.
But what about my heart, Pastor Patrick? No, sorry.
Yeah.
Just yeah. Oh, thank you. That's good to know. That's I think that's important. So what do you do when you're not doing inner healing? I mean, just a question, right? Now, so of course, after a long day of inner healing, right? I mean, I'm asking personal questions so that I can understand a life of an inner healer. Like, so you do inner healing because you're connecting with the heart. And I know after, for me, when I prophesy over people or one day, or I evangelize over like a lot of people, right? Then usually I will not want to talk to anybody. So how, like, this is a personal question. Like, so after a whole day, right, and you're tired, how do you re-energize yourself? Like, is there things that you do?
Okay.
Go to gym? I don't know. Like,
Honestly, I need to be more intentional. All right. Yeah. Like, go home. I'm just multitasking, listening to YouTube video while playing mindless puzzle games. That's
okay, that's how you.
yeah.
Why?
You know.
Okay.
So that's really not the best way to take care of myself. But that's what I'm doing. All right.
Okay. But does it work? It works for you, right?
Again, it's
Okay.
yeah.
Do you have hours that you say no phone calls, no interruption? I'm not gonna entertain anything. Do you? I mean, you have to, right? I mean, you cannot like someone call you at 4 a.m. in the morning. There's a demon in my room. Then. Right? So
I had a lady once. She did that to me twice. 2 a.m. in the morning. Demon in her house.
okay.
Right?
Nah, you can't go to a
Yeah,
women's
so-
house, man. That's dangerous.
Yeah, that
Boundary.
was. She called me, Pastor Patrick. Please come.
No.
I said no. Then the next thing she said, can I come over to your house? I said
No.
no. It will freak out my mom. This was more than, maybe it's about 15 years ago.
Wow.
That
And you're more
Rather-
handsome than
no.
wow.
Then-
no,
then I
that's good.
said, I'll park outside your house. Doorstep. I said no. It was So
That's unhealthy. That's
yeah. So yeah. It was bad. It was really bad.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was there were real demons in the house, and
Yeah.
there were demons in her too. But yeah, it's beyond. It's beyond me.
So out of the, oh yeah, like wow, wow, it's almost 9. Like
Yeah, I think we should start answering the questions.
yeah, we
have
should
some
start answering the questions. Like, sorry guys, like I mean, I'm so intrigued and I took most of your time. Is there any questions that you guys wanna ask? I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I
there are
forgot
some
about-
questions already.
Okay, go for it, Pastor Patrick.
Yeah,
Go for
Is
it.
there some question that you'd like to answer first while the other people will start writing their questions?
Yeah,
Is there something that caught your attention and you'd be like, yes, I want to answer this?
okay. So there are some. I'll just answer whatever I see. So I see Malagros. You ask Pastor Patrick, how long is the average period and longest time of inner healing you have done? Okay. So for most people so far, I only do 1-2 sessions with them. Okay, because there are so many people and my time is limited, right? And for most people, 1-2 sessions, they get a certain amount of breakthrough. And each session can be anywhere from half an hour to 2 hours. All right. Depending on what's happening in the spirit. and yeah, a number of them within a session they experience a shift, that is evident enough to know that there's a breakthrough going on, and some of them do experience breakthroughs in their health, breakthroughs in their relationships, breakthroughs in random area of their life from one session alone. All right. I always tell people that I cannot heal a lifetime of your pain in one session, but I may be able to do enough, for you to experience a shift. Yeah. And so in a number of sessions, in most cases, God do crash in, and people experience that shift. Now there are some cases where I feel like I'm just banging the wall, and nothing is going through. And yeah, there is there's probably a lot of subconscious resistance on the person's part. Not that he or she does not want a breakthrough. And in a number of those cases, I don't have the opportunity to continue. Yeah. What's the longest period of inner healing? I think I've done one case, and I don't do it alone. I did it with a team, and I spent 30 hours. Yep.
Continuous.
Yeah. No.
Over
10 sessions.
10 sessions.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 10 sessions, 3 hours each, right? Yeah. Yeah. 10 sessions. And so the person did experience breakthrough along the way, but unfortunately was not deep. The breakthroughs were not deep enough for the person to I don't know. So yeah, so we had to stop because
Why do you have to stop? What was the defining point that you need to stop?
That's a good question, Jeff.
Right? I mean,
we had to stop because the inner healing team were burning out. Like,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, there were other things that was going on in my life in that time, but by the I basically burnt out. Yeah. After that. Yeah. Yes. Right.
So okay,
And
no,
okay. Now there is another person. Okay, I do have other cases where I've done a few cases, maybe clock about 20 hours, and these other cases are actually how do I say it? And after I do those sessions, I feel I actually feel more energized because the Spirit of God was so strong. Like every session, like these people that I work with, that somehow they are very open, and so although they have many wounds, but yet because they're so open to what God wants to do in their lives, it's easy for me to work with them, and it's energizing because the Spirit of God is flowing so strongly. And so there will be people who will be very draining when you work inner healing with them, and there'll be other cases where, yes, it's tiring physically, but it does energizes you spiritually. Yeah.
So I just want to hear more about that. Okay, because just now you said, because in an inner healing dynamic, there are actually two main party, the one receiving and the one giving, right?
Uh-huh.
And just now you mentioned about one of the reason why you will stop is probably number one, people cross boundary. We mentioned earlier just now.
Yeah.
Number two, you it has personally and maybe even physically taken a toll on you, and you
Yeah.
want to protect your own time.
Yeah.
And maybe I want to hear more about what are the telltale signs, because if not, 30
That's a good
hours can be
question.
35, can be 40. Like, what are some of the signs that you observe that you realize that, like, maybe I'm
Yeah.
not getting enough breakthroughs, or maybe another person should step in, etc. So let me give an example. For example, I remember when I teach my students to pray in the healing rooms, we don't tell them pray half an hour. We say, like, you pray for 5 minutes already, you don't see a breakthrough, maybe get another person to come and pray. Because it's a teamwork. But of course yours might be a different dynamic. So we want to hear more, because I think you shared very good advice for people who want to start on an inner healing to at least have some handles on how to protect themselves.
Okay.
But I'd like to hear more about like what are the signal of red flags that you see that will be like, okay, maybe this case I have to either close it or maybe pass it to someone else, because sometimes some people might be too close for comfort, like we know them too well, etc. There are really quite a few factors.
So if there's someone who is just texting you relentlessly and non-stop,
Oh my.
yeah, uh, that's a problem. And so I don't mind setting up a time. Okay, I set up the next 1-2 hours. Let's come on Zoom. Okay, let's work out some issues. But if a person is just texting me whenever the person is triggered, is basically dumping emotional toxicity on me.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's very draining. Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Are there,
So that's a telltale sign.
are there others?
Well, the person needs to be open enough for me to work with, because there are some people who are not ready to face their pain. Yeah, and so if the person is not ready to face the pain, there's very little I can do. I don't want to. Yeah,
No, Patrick,
yeah. It'll take a lot more effort, which is very draining on my part.
Yeah, I thought that was a really good point. I think a lot of times inner healing takes two hands to clap, and I do know that Pastor Patrick, for example, as an inner healing minister, is already ready to serve, ready to minister. But I think the receiving end, they definitely have to be ready to face the pain. I think ready to change. Because if not, that totally get you. It can be time wasting.
Yeah.
It can be time wasting,
Yep.
and nothing much could be done because
Yep.
it'll be kind of beating around the bush. Anyway, Pastor Patrick, that kind of answered the question, because I thought this is a very good practical side of being an inner healing minister.
Right.
I'm going to jump to another question. I feel like this is a very good question. How do you train as a minister in inner healing? How do you be trained as a minister in inner healing? I thought that's a very good question, especially we are talking on a topic of ministering inner healing. How would you advise or encourage someone who wants to start this journey to be an inner healing minister?
Well, so the simple answer is just come for Soakability School of Inner Healing 1, right?
Very good, very good, very good.
Right. That's the starting point, right? The fact is, I have over the years gone through many different brands of inner healing schools, and I recognize the similarities and the differences of each school, and yeah, and then I began to piece things together and make sense out of it. And what I have today is my own framework. Yeah, so it's something that I put together, but it's not out of thin air. Yeah, it's over the years, from what I understand, from what I've learned from other people. Yeah, so it's, in a sense, its origin, it is distinctly mine, but in a sense, it's not. In a sense, there's nothing new under the sun, right? So I did not pluck it out from thin air. Yeah.
All right.
So yeah. So how do you embark on that? Yeah, go to different inner healing schools and learn as much as you can, and receive inner healing for yourself, and begin to and then you can minister inner healing to others.
All right. No, that's good. That's good. Well, I mean, the answer in short, do join the Soakability School of Inner Healing. That is probably one of the best way. But maybe I want to rephrase that question. All right. By asking you, Pastor Perry, what do you think are some of the good qualities that an inner healing minister should possess? What are some of the good qualities that an inner healing minister should possess? Or at least people who are watching right now, it's like, I got that, I'm ready.
What are some good qualities that inner healing
Minister should
ministers? Compassion.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, and discernment. I think there was a question asking about discernment just now.
Discernment.
About the gift of discernment. Yeah.
So yeah. So discernment of human spirit, and also discernment of evil spirits. These are things that are important in inner healing. Now the problem is, there are many people who practice inner healing. They are so fixated on, okay, what's the demon? What's the demon? What's the demon? And so everything is demon to them. Oh, you have fear in your life. Okay, let's cast out that demon of fear. Oh, let's cast out that demon of anger. And everything to them needs casting out. Right? And doesn't really work like that. All right. And yeah, and people like that think that they are acting out of a discernment of spirits, but it's really paranoia, and paranoia, a mix of paranoia and legalism. And I've seen a lot of damage from this approach. I've seen people who come to me for inner healing telling me of the damage they have experienced from other people doing inner healing of them, trying to cast demons out of them. Right? And yeah, so unfortunately, there are people who think they have the discernment of spirits. Yeah, it's really not
It's true.
discernment. Yeah, it's So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
so yes, discernment is very important. Yeah. It has to be discernment, not delusion. Alright? You can be delusional about demons. Yeah, demons
Wow.
everywhere, demons in everyone. No, the fact there are demons everywhere, but that's not the way you do deliverance.
Yeah,
Yeah, or the inner healing. Yeah.
yeah. One of the, I think the discernment of spirits, in First Corinthians chapter 12, it came back in the 80s. Came back in the 80s, and unfortunately, it's the gift pick up as discernment of demons, evil spirits, unclean spirits, spirit of fear, so spirit of death. I mean, I've been to mission trip where I'm with Pastor Mark, like, you know, I mean, there are some spooky intercessors. Oh, there's a spirit of death flowing around. We were in Tibet, spirit of death, like Pastor Mark just laughed, like it's like I mean, I understand what he's saying, like so we over spiritualize things, but you see the problem is what you're afraid of, you open the door to, and then that's the problem. The enemy works in fear. The kingdom works in faith. The kingdom of darkness works in fear. The kingdom of light works in faith, and faith and fear both attracts. And so, so because in the 80s it came back as this gift, it's about spotting evil things. So it became a very negative gift. And one of the things that I don't like is people telling people, hey, you have the spirit of this, or you have the spirit of that, or you have what is that, spirit of Nimrod or spirit of Jezebel or what. You know, you don't tell people that. It's more damaging to the person. And I know of a particular ministry right now, which is very famous. I mean, we have a couple of people that, like, I mean, they left our church, but they personally think that almost quite a number of people, a lot of people in our church, that there's a spirit of Jezebel, spirit of this, spirit of tiger, spirit of lion. What do you think my church is? A zoo? Is it? Like, our church is not a zoo, okay? Like, I mean, so you see that the point is this: when you tell a person that there are demons inside them, it's more damaging to the person if you don't really have the gift of discernment. So in the 80s, it kind of gave the discernment of spirit a very bad light. But the word there is plural. It's not singular. That's why, like, the same way you can discern evil spirit, you can discern the Holy Spirit. The same way you can discern evil spirit, you can discern angelic spirit. The same way you can discern evil spirit, you can discern the human spirit. Angelic, evil, human, Holy Spirit. And so we need to bring this back in a way that it's a healthy gift that see in the spiritual realm to see what is needed to set a person free. Yeah? Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. So in all of the 9 gifts, every single gift will bring a degree of freedom over a person, because where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And if your gift of discernment, and when you exercise it, it does not set people free and put them into condemnation, my friend, you are exercising it wrongly. And I really feel like even in this time, God is bringing the discernment of the Spirit, plural, spirits back. The same way as a gift of gifts of healing, plural. It's bringing it back so that we can see in a healthy way, not just going around and telling people they have demons here and there. It's damaging for the person. Sorry, I'm just really passionate about this, and we do this give a very huge injustice, and it doesn't mean that the person has a famous book and or the person is famous. It means that it's correct. Sometimes I know people who read the book as if they are reading the Bible or the scriptures, that they don't double check what is in the scriptures, and they just think that that's the word of God. That's not the word of God. That's a book. And so, yeah, I mean, probably you need more discernment in reading books. I mean, yeah, sorry, passionate. Okay, back. So I'm sorry you're taking your time. Like, just,
Okay, June has a good question. June says some argued that no need inner healing, just need to know the word, renew your mind, and be set free, or cast the demon, and the person will be okay. What is your opinion?
This is a now and not yet.
Yeah, I've answered part of that just now about the already and not yet. But so here's my framework. Okay. In a nutshell, your human soul is will, intellect, and emotions, right? Right. So with will, with the will, you choose and you sin. All right. With the intellect, it's your thinking and your belief system, and the lies that bait you. And the emotions is the wounds and the hurts and the emotional pain. So pain, lies, and sin. All right. The love of God heals all pain, and the truth of God demolishes all lies, and the power of God destroys all sin. Now, sin includes lust, it includes involvement in occult, it includes inner vows, it includes a lot of things. All right. Yeah. But just in general, the power of God destroys all sin. No. So 2 Timothy 1:7, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, love, and sound mind. Sound mind, you get sound mind from truth. All right. So power, love, and truth. All right. And so many inner healing methods or systems major in one or two elements of inner healing. All right. So the power approach is about casting out demons, using the authority of Christ to cast out demons. All right. And so then you have the love approach, right? Like what Heidi Baker does is Mama Heidi, what she does with demonized kids is she just bring them home, love on them, hug them until the demons can't stand it and get out of them, right? Yeah, it's like hugging kids until the demons, freak out from the cringiness. All right.
What cringiness? Not cringiness lah. You say until like cringiness. She hugged me also. What? It's not cringy.
Yeah.
I do encounter like
Yeah.
she really, when she hugs, she has something.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're talking about also the father heart of God.
Yes.
Okay.
Father heart of God, right? So love, that's the love approach. Then you have the truth approach, renewing your mind, right? And there are accounts of people who meditate on the word of God until the demons cannot take it. They run away, right? And so a balanced inner healing system actually have all three elements in place. Yeah. They may not explain it like I explained it. I'm explaining it from my framework, from after my 30 years of experience. When 30 years ago you talk about casting out demons, I started reading about casting out demons 30 years ago. There's this the Baptist preacher, deliverance minister called Win Wadley. No, he is a real deal. You know, he says on his experience, on the average, every person has at least 200 demons bothering them, harassing them. Now, so he has a true gift. He's not flaky. He's know what he's saying. He got results. You know, but a lot of other people that I see talking about demons don't have results. All right. So I only, you know, but so but he has the authority and he has the discernment. That works for him. That's great. All right. So that's a power approach. Yeah. And different people, you know, incorporate different elements and incorporate in different way. All right. So my framework, you know, I spell it out, the 3 elements, and then I have my own practical method of incorporating the 3 elements in place, right? And you do need to have the 3 elements in place. For example, Jesus talks about, you know, the person, you know, who is demonized, the demon get cast out, then he wanders in the dry and arid land and comes back with 7 other demons, find that the person is a clean house, empty house, and so the demons come in with 7 deadlier demons.
Mm.
Yeah. So Jesus is saying is, yeah, you just casting out demons is not enough. If the other elements are not in place, truth is not in place, love is not in place, then all you get is an empty house that the demons can come back anytime, right? So you need power, truth, and love. Yeah. And yeah, because lies, pain, and sin, any one of them is a foothold, is an open door. You can go in through any door, and then the bondage happens all again. You need to close all 3 doors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you need to get your corners covered.
Wow.
Right.
So the demons look for dry places. So the demons like dry people. Like, so the people love people who have dry humor. So so you need to be careful, Patrick. Like you know, like I realize sometimes your humor is a bit dry. So you just need to.
That's why I drink a lot of water.
Oh man, but still dry, your jokes. So never mind. That's great. Any other questions that you wanna?
You want to maybe can answer one last question before we
Yeah.
start, because it's
Yeah, Michael has a question. Michael says, Pastor Patrick, how do you handle people who acknowledge they need healing but are unwilling to face their trauma in their past that blocks their growth? So it's very hard for me to help someone who is unwilling to face that issue. Yeah. Now, the fact is this: if someone is very heavily traumatized, I cannot just I just recall the trauma. The person will be in shock. The person will start reacting very badly, and I don't want that to happen. All right. And so we need to be really, really gentle with people who are very heavily traumatized. And honestly, I'm not I'm not ministering to that particular group of people. All right. Yeah, because that will take a lot more sensitivity. You need to take a lot more time, right? But there are people who, for example, I know people who want a breakthrough in their life, but they refuse to forgive. And they refuse to forgive people. And it's different from, I want to forgive, but I cannot. For example, I've got a lady who came back and tagged me and said, Pastor Patrick, I tried forgiving my husband so many times, but I couldn't. But after your session with me, I finally forgave him. That's different, right? Yeah. But yeah, if a person doesn't want, I cannot be pulling a donkey to drink water, right? Takes too much of my energy. I only work with people who are ready. Yeah. One more.
Oh, why don't I ask this one? Because it's connected to your question. What if there are sensitive issues? Like, if the person is a rape victim, right, and it's sensitive, and do you change the language?
I've done.
Like, as in, they
Okay.
don't want to know, but you know that, spirit, you know that they might be. So how do you kind of, is there words, you change your words in a way to bring them to this place where they are open about it? You're talking about people who are resistant. Sometimes they just don't want, because it's too shameful. It's not a matter of their resistance, it's just they're shameful of their past. But, is there any way that, do you change the language?
I've done at least one case before. I remember one case.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. I don't need the person. There are many ways for me to do inner healing or heal painful memories, and I don't always need the person to tell me
Okay.
in detail the whole part. I don't need that. So there are ways that I can do it where the person do not need to tell me any detail. And sometimes I have a number of cases where it's deep betrayal or it's very painful stuff. I don't know exactly what it is. All right, like only like the inner healing is like 3/4 through. Then I begin to discern in my heart. Yeah, that's probably some betrayal or something sexual down there, So yes. So when I discern that it's something very sensitive, I don't even get them to tell me the details. Yeah. 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 It's there are ways where I can do inner healing without them telling me elaborate stories. Yeah.
Navas, I don't think we use hypnotism. I never advise, and I don't think it's our stand that we do hypnotism for those who are traumatized. Because when you do hypnotism, it's putting your mind in a state where you are. There's spiritual implications.
Okay.
I need to really.
All right.
Yeah.
So, interestingly, what I do is I dehypnotize people from their hypnotism. You need to understand this, that when you are in pain, you're actually hypnotized by your pain. When you are in pain, that you are actually caught in people in pain are irrational. Yeah, people in pain, they cannot think straight. Yeah. And that is a state of hypnotism. That's an altered state where you are not really yourself anymore, or you're not your usual self. You are in a state of pain, and you react out of pain. You are not acting but reacting. And so a big part of what I do is to break that. to break that state, so that you yeah you regain a piece of yourself to become who you really are. Yeah. So I don't do hypnotism. I actually do dehypnotism. I dehypnotize people from their existent brainwashing. Yeah.
I think she's talking about the practice of hypnotism rather than. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah. So that's another topic
Yeah,
altogether.
yeah.
But that's not in my system.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
And I
neither in my,
don't
it's in my,
do.
no way. It's in
So
my-
I don't do. Yeah. I don't use hypnotism.
Yep. No.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, Patrick.
Mm.
You know, I think you answered quite a lot of questions already, and I feel like, you know, the topic of inner healing is something that covers a very wide range of biblical different topic, and as well it can go really, really deep. All right. So, you know, with that, we're just going to wrap it up. You know, I thought this was a very fruitful session. There's just much more that you know, we all can learn from Pastor Patrick. You know, which, you know, do sign up for the school. You know, there you'll learn a framework. You can have more Q&A time, you know, more things to learn, all right? Because I think, you know, Pastor Patrick is just going to do like a teaser. But I know we're going to give more announcement for that later on. But right now, we want to move on to a time to collect our offering and tithe. So if you are from Soakability Church and you like to give your offering and tithe to the church, you may give so through these 3 contactless payment. All right, number 1, you can use your phone to scan the QR code with your internet banking. Number 2, you can write a check to Soakability. And number 3, you can give through PayPal for those who are living overseas. All right, but I want to emphasize that if you are, if your home church is not Soakability Church, you know, please do keep your tithe to your local church. But if you want to sow above and beyond what we're doing, you know, you may feel free to give. You've been blessed by Pastor Patrick sharing, you know. You can give to the church. We'll be really honored to receive them. Okay, so Jeff, maybe can I get you to, you know, pray for the offering tonight?
All right. Let's pray. Father, we thank you, Lord. The heart is such an intricate place that even our giving, it's out of abundance of our heart, our mouth speaks, our actions, our thoughts. And Lord, you just bring us to this place, but we are aware that you search our hearts even tonight as we kind of be in this place. It says, Holy Spirit, you are welcome to set our hearts straight, Lord. That you do whatever you want to do in our hearts, as whatever that is shared in the last 2 hours, Lord. And we pray in the name of Jesus that as we give, it's also a heart matter. It's not a hand matter. It's a heart matter. When we give to you. When we give to your kingdom. It's never out of obligation. It is out of the joy of our hearts. It's God loves a cheerful giver. And you know what? That means you're valuing the state of us giving than the hands that give. And so even as right now, Lord, as we prepare to give, you will bring us to this place that we willingly give as worship, as a part of worship to you. In Jesus' name, bless those who give, Lord. That when we give, we are just giving out of the abundance of our hearts to you as a form of worship. So we just bless you, Lord. And bless those who give in the name of Jesus. And all God's people say,
Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you, Jeff. All right, we're going to go through some announcement right now. So for the first announcement, we're going to continue our this month's special on AMA. All right, so next week will be on the topic of supernatural kids. All right, kids, moving in supernatural. All right, so I'll be the one in the hot seat where, you know, Pastor Patrick is sitting right now. And I'm excited to share more about kids ministering in the supernatural. All right, I'll get one of the kid will be joining me. All right, so it'll be really fun. It will be really exciting. I think some of you had a great time last week. My spiritual son came online to share, to minister with us, to prophesy over some of the people that was online. So we're gonna get another session next week, and I'm gonna share more about how to get kids activated in the supernatural. And I think what would be really good is if you have kids, get them to watch, and maybe we can even potentially do some live activation for the kids online. I love to answer any question that you all have. It will be really fun, and we're gonna do some ministry with the kids together. All right, so this will be next Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. All right, so do check that up. All right, the next announcement will be this Sunday. All right, this Sunday will be our church service. And this Sunday will be a very special service because it is Father's Day as well. So I got a message that the Lord has placed on my heart to share. So I want to encourage everyone, whether you're father or not father, but I really want to encourage all men to tune in, and all the amazing women where you have an amazing husband, watch it together. I really feel like God is calling all men to rise up in this season to be a father. We all carry the heart of the Father. And what's so special about this is I'm going to get my spiritual son to preach with me as well. So he's going to share part of the message with me. So that's going to be really fun, to have a kid preaching with me. All right. So do check this out this Sunday, all right, at 10 a.m. on Facebook Live. All right. And the next one I'm going to pass to Jeff.
Yep. Yeah. For the School of the Prophetic, for those of you who now we all know that our government kind of like we only can resume on the 21st. Unfortunately, that's a Sunday, so we missed by one day. Right now, we not even sure because like all the new cases that's going on. But like hopefully we're gonna pray. Yeah, but in this Saturday, for those of you who are attending the School of the Prophetic, it's gonna be online activation. Unfortunately, like because we fall on the 20th, so the news just came in. We resume on the 21st. So do take note of that. It's gonna be on. It's going to be on Zoom for those students that's listening. We will send an email to confirm with you guys. Yeah, so do kind of don't come here. Yeah, don't come here. Stay on Zoom. Yeah, we're going to do online Zoom activations. So the next announcement will be Pastor Patrick, the School of Inner Healing. So yeah, take it away.
All right. So the School of Inner Healing, one will start on July 17th. It will be over 4 Saturdays. And basically, I'll cover the biblical framework of inner healing. Yeah, like what I've been doing all along, right? But along with the biblical framework, there'll be a practical protocol. Okay, so I will share along the way my practical protocol and demonstrate it. Yeah, and it'll be a tool that you'll be able to use for yourself. Yeah, that you can use to untrigger triggers on yourself. Yeah, so because all of us have emotional triggers. Yeah, what are emotional triggers? Yeah, it's just like if you have a sore spot on your body, open wound. There's a sore spot. Someone touches your open wound, you jump in pain. We have open wounds in our hearts. These are sore spots that are triggers. If someone touch on a certain topic, we react in pain. And so yeah. So within the course, I will equip you with a practical protocols to be able to untrigger emotional triggers, and yeah, and so to disarm fear, to disarm anger, to just bring peace, to keep you in a state of shalom peace. And so so there'll be a practical part to it, yeah. But that practical part that is being grounded by a foundation of theology, yeah. Oh yes, it starts on July the 17th and it runs for 4 Saturdays, 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock in yeah, in the afternoon on Zoom. And it's $120, $120 for 4 sessions, yeah. And we will, yeah, you will get yeah. So yeah, we've put the link up, yeah. So participants will get the recording, right? Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanna. One of the reasons why even in this season that we actually want to, you probably realize that School of Prophetic, there's a cost to it, and the School of Inner Healing, there's a cost to it. It's because I don't, even especially for this season, we want to empower people, not minister to people. Not just minister to people, we want to empower people. We want to teach a team to fish. And one of the things that I'm very concerned, especially for Patrick, is we bounces off quite a lot that we don't want a conference that he is going to minister to everyone, because that is not productive. That is not productive. And we decided that it's going to be a school that's going to empower everyone. And I don't want him to be overwhelmed with people who comes and receiving a ministry. And I think that a course in itself will actually save us from a lot of trouble. Yeah, I think we don't offer God something that costs nothing. And I think that for us, even in this season, right, we want to train people who are intentional and we are also intentional in multiplying. Yeah, and I think this is not a place where we just come and receive. It's a place that we come to equip, set ourselves free, and set other people free. And so that's one of the reasons why we decided to, because if to be honest, if you run without a cause, right, we will attract a lot of people who come and want him to minister. And I don't want him to burn out. Now, Pastor Patrick is a very obliging individual. It's true, I can say, because I worked with him for the longest time, and I'm also helping him set boundaries. Isn't it true? I'm really also helping him setting up boundaries, and in order for this inner healing to have longevity, is the most important thing is that we want to empower people, and but you know what? It's not expensive. It's $120. I think a lot of people can afford it, and so it's also international, of course. If you can stay out early in the morning, but I mean, we will kind of provide you with the MP3s and stuff. But note that every Wednesday we believe in blessing the body of Christ, and that's what this Wednesdays are for. We want the word of God to go out. We want to empower every single people, but at the same time, we want to be also intentional in making disciples and training people up properly. Yeah. So that's something that's upon our hearts. Yeah.
All right. The last announcement would be the School of the Prophetic for Kids. All right. I'm very excited that, after Pastor Jeff has started the one that is currently running, we're going to do one for the kids. It will happen in July, but we're going to give more details next week during the AMA. As spoken earlier, we do want to make sure that this is on-site. We want kids to be engaged in their activities and the activation that we should require them to be best, done on-site. All right, so for those of you who are living overseas, this is actually on-site, which means it is for our local Singapore participant. We're going to share more information next week on AMA. All right, since next week AMA is about kids in supernatural ministry. All right, so this is really apt. All right, so but for now, do keep an eye lookout for the more details next week. All right, because we are also closely monitoring what is the regulation from the government. We want to abide by the government regulation before we gather all the kids into our church venue and we teach them how to prophesy. All right, so don't miss this. All right, this is going to be really fun for your kids. And I think one thing I've been talking about is what does it look like to have a supernatural family, a family of revivalists. All right, so if any of you are already in Pastor Jeff, session, the school, all right, and you have kids, do sign them up for these. I think they'll be really powerful, whereby fathers, mothers, sons, daughter, they all hear the voice of the Lord. And one of the things I shared last week on AMA is like, there's something powerful happen when the voice of the Lord is at the center of the family. Something powerful when the voice of the Lord is at the center of the family.
Right.
All right, so do check that out. We're going to give more information next week.
Amen. Wait, maybe let me rephrase that. That didn't turn out right. Well, how I kind of like define what Pastor. Now, now, I can honestly say in our team, Pastor Patrick has been a very strong support. He will do whatever we do. He's always there, and he will be there, and he's always on a supporting role. And right now, what we are doing is, we say, well, his gift is really in inner healing and all that stuff. And we also want him to train other people. And he is a person that he won't say no. He's always very helpful, compassionate. Most compassionate, slow to anger, quick, and gracious and merciful. Yeah. But, but yeah, at the same time, I am personally watching and helping, that the next step is to multiply more of him. Multiply more of him. What he knows is going to impact. Because I don't want him to burn out. I don't want it to be a one-man show. And so that's why we are doing all this. Yeah? So, then now, right now, we still have a slight bit of time. Do we have?
Yeah. Well, I think there are some comments about what if I can't attend the session.
Yeah.
Right?
So Patrick, we can answer some of these questions about your school.
Yeah,
and then
go for
maybe
it.
we can slowly wrap it up after
I
that.
think.
Yeah. So now the thing is, I know we get the audio recordings. Do we have the video recordings? Too? No, just audio. Is it?
See, now I can support Pastor Patrick.
Okay.
Well, you have charts and stuff, right? So yes, we will give you the video recording.
Yeah.
But that will be done after compression and stuff.
Sure.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would suggest if you are really keen to learn, and you can't attend it live, just go ahead and register, because all participants get the audio and video recordings.
but the practical part you can't.
No,
Nah.
it's fine.
Yeah,
You
so
can even
the-
with
the
the
teaching,
video part, you can follow. You can follow the practical part. You'll be able to follow the practical part. Yeah. Yeah. The only thing is you will not be able to answer question. You will not be able to ask questions on the spot Q&A. All right. Yeah. But I do. Yeah. I do encourage you, if you are really keen, just sign up just to get the video and audio recordings. All right. That will. Yeah. And you can learn that through the record. Now, honestly speaking, I go nowadays I pay for a lot of seminars online, and I just watch the replays. All right, that's me. Yeah. I've tried staying up like in the middle of the night, like 2 a.m. to go on live sessions before, because they are US seminars. And yes, it really wears me out, And so what I do is nowadays, if I'm going to if I'm going to pay for a live webinar that's in US, I just watch the replays, and you know what? It's I learned so much, and yeah, it's really it's really worth the money. I can just replay it again over and over again until I understand what the person is saying. So since we have the video replays, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
That
is good enough.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, because I just want to encourage, one thing good about having these resources is that you can watch it at your own convenience.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't have. I know someone Donald saying like it'll be 2 a.m. to 5. I totally understand.
Yeah,
It's
yes.
gonna be really hard.
Yeah,
So
absolutely
if you're in US, don't
Yeah, just Patrick just say just sleep, wake up and watch.
wake up and watch. Yeah.
All right. So I think with that, I think that was a really clear direction for people who are still thinking whether to join or not, especially with the time zone difference and being overseas. But I think Pastor Patrick has answered that really clearly. And I guess with that, we want to wrap up our tonight's session. All right. Thank you so much, all of you, for tuning in tonight and really having the heart to learn more about inner healing. And for those of you who say that, man, there's still so much more I don't know, there's still so much more I want to learn, do click on the link that's been pinned up right now, and you can join us for the School of Inner Healing session, where you get to learn more from Pastor Patrick. You get special hangout time on Zoom to really learn about the framework, biblical principle, etc. And at the same time, there'll be activation activities for you to do and to take your inner healing ministry to a new level. All right. So with that, we thank you for joining us tonight. And the next session will be this Sunday, 10 a.m. That will be our church service. Do join us live. Same thing, Facebook Live, but it's this Sunday, 10 a.m. There'll be worship. There'll be ministry. There'll be an amazing message. So do join us this Sunday. All right. So with that, we're going to say good night to all of you, for those of you who are in Singapore, and have a great day ahead for those of you who are outside of Singapore. All right. So bless you all and good night to you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Bye.